morning. Thank you for joining us here at Bluebird. We are welcoming you to our quilting nest today. We have some fun new things that are coming our way, including our very own Bluebird Batik. So that's fun. We'll be talking about that. We're also going to be talking about what's the difference between dyeing and painting fabric, and what is this batik process all about. Also letting you know about some upcoming things here at Bluebird Quilt Studio. So thank you for joining us. It is quite warm in our studio. We have a little issue with our air conditioner, but we're getting that fixed and resolved shortly. So we invite you into our warm but welcoming, how about that? Warm but welcoming nest here at Bluebird Quilt Studio. Nina's here with me this morning, and I want to thank her for helping us film today. So let's talk a little bit about upcoming things here at Bluebird Quilt Studio first. We have just a few seats left for our retreat that's coming up in September. The dates for that retreat are September 29th through the 2nd. So please pop us a little email or call us here at Bluebird Quilt Studio if you would like to be a part of a 3-day retreat. Our retreats are in the gorgeous McCall area. We are right on the shores of Payette Lake. It is spectacular, particularly in the fall. The leaves will be changing. It will be so lovely. So 3 days of fun with friends. We usually offer a couple of classes, in addition to plenty of time for friendship and laughter and fun things to do. And of course, time to sew that's uninterrupted. The food at Camp Idahaven is absolutely extraordinary, so we always recommend that people wear loose clothing so they can enjoy the wonderful food that's available there as well. So if you would like more information about our retreats, please give us a call and we'll get you signed up for that fun event. All right. We also have a variety of quilting classes that are coming up that I want to call your attention to. We really like to put quilters underneath our wing and assist them with their quilting, whether you're a beginning quilter or a free-flying quilt artist, as we like to say here at Bluebird Quilt Studio. We can find a quilting class that is appropriate for you. We, like you, have had our own journey along the quilting path, and we know how wonderful it is to actually finish your own quilts. So we all have started many years ago quilting usually on our domestic machines, and now we have these beautiful long arms to share. So we have a whole long arm quilting series to share with you. We also have the ability to teach you on domestic machines. Looking forward to customizing some classes for you. We do require that we have at least 3 people, but we've got some great skilled quilters in our Bluebird nest. And if you have an idea for a class, as long as it works out for all parties concerned, we're happy to assist you. All right, so great classes coming up. Also, to those of you that were with us on our first Facebook Live sale, we really thank you for going with us on our maiden flight. We'll call it our maiden flight. We are looking forward to our second sale. We're going to be calling it our Quilters Picnic. So we'll be bringing our favorite picks from around the store to your living room live on Facebook on Monday, August 14th at 10 a.m. Enjoy great deals, and come along for the ride with us there. So that is our next Facebook Live sale. Also, want to call your attention to some things that we're going to be posting on our Facebook page this month. Last month, we highlighted applique techniques. This month, we're going to talk about some particularly floral types of patterns, quilt kits, those kinds of things. So if you are a flower child, join us for Facebook Live through the month of August. It will be full bloom kinds of quilting techniques. Last month I visited the Batik Gardens in Victoria, BC, and took lots of sketchy drawings and took lots of pictures that are going to inspire some projects around here. So if you want to take a little art quilt journey with me, or you're trying to capture some of your travels in a quilt, come along for the ride on those Facebook Lives. All right. Some other things that I wanted to call to your attention as far as exciting deals. Nina can fill us in a little bit on this if she wants to. We have an extraordinary deal this month with Laura Star ironing systems. Handy Quilter is providing a promotion where you can get an $899 Laura Star lift ironing system. It's pretty darn special, guys. So for those of you that know what that is all about, you'll want to take advantage of that. That promotion runs from August 4th to August 25th. It's on the Amara system machines and Pro Stitchers. So if you'd like to take advantage of that, pretty cool.
I'm interrupting you.
All right,
I'm
good.
interrupting you.
It's all good.
I think I've gone through a couple years where I went through maybe 3 or 4 irons because I killed them. Pressing matters. And when you use a Laura Star ironing system, you will never use another iron in your entire life.
Pretty great, huh?
No, you have to have one.
Maybe we can get Nina to bring her iron in. Whew. It's plenty hot in here. But we can make it a little hotter with an ironing
We're melting.
System. So maybe we can get Nina to demo her iron next time for us. But they are pretty special. I've heard a number of quilters say how much they love them. I think it's kind of hysterical that we're sitting here sweating as much as we're sweating.
Like dripping.
We're sweating it out here.
Does this make me skinnier if I...
Yes.
Right?
This is the Bluebird.
The Bluebird diet?
The Bluebird spa today. Woo! We're going to get a free facial today. So, please come on in and get a free facial. A free spa facial. Hopefully the air conditioners will all kick back in and we'll cool off a little bit. All right, so let's talk about some tropical batik fabrics, okay? So first of all, just want to show you a couple of batiks that I have done, because it's also a process, okay? Technically, even though this is painted, I think it would be considered at least a painted batik, because I did use a resist to contain the dye of the fabric. Here's one that I did.
Give it a tilt because you have the window.
Tilt?
Yeah, right there.
Better?
Yep, right there. Don't move.
I love this one. It's, capturing the seasons. I love it. So, anyway, took a batik class and really enjoyed that. Those are more painted. This one actually uses more of a traditional technique.
Tilt because the glare. Yeah, there you go.
Where you crinkle it when you're done and then dip it in dye. So let's just talk a minute about what is the batik process and how does a dye differ from a paint. So a fabric dye technically chemically bonds with the fibers that are absorbing or the dye is being placed upon. So, you know, I'm a chemistry teacher. I could geek out on that. I'll try to refrain. But a dye bonds with the fabric. Now, it usually has some mordant to assist it with the dye, and sometimes there's a fixative that is used in order to finish the dyeing process, but it's an actual chemical bond. So that's what makes fabrics washable. So last week when we were talking about textile medium can be used in some instances to assist with the binding of the fabric medium, the paint or ink in the case of what we did last week, binding of that medium to the fabric, okay? But it's still not technically a dye, okay? Paints sit on the top, so still love doing that too. So here's some jelly printed painted fabric. I used acrylic paint, and again I used textile medium to kind of assist. But if you've ever played with acrylic paint on fabrics, I'll hold this up so you can see it. If you've ever played with acrylic paints, they kind of sit on top of the surface, and when you look at the back of this, you can tell it's not really going through. There's a couple of spots where I had a little extra paint down here on the bottom and it actually went through the fabric. But it's not being absorbed and bonding to the fabric. So how does a batik actually work? Okay? So usually the traditional way that most batiks are made, usually the batiks that we have available to us as quilters are usually made in Indonesia, okay? And a wax resist is placed on the fabric. Now, sometimes it's paraffin, sometimes it's beeswax. Usually it's a combination between paraffin and beeswax. That wax is melted, okay? And then the wax is applied sometimes after the fabric has been dyed with a fiber reactive dye, and sometimes just on the white fabric, depending on the type of batik we're talking about. But by placing the wax on top of the fabric, it creates a resist for the next dip of the dye. Okay? So the other thing that can be used as so the tools that are used to apply the wax. The traditional tool is actually a carved wooden stamp. You might think of it like a stamp. A carved wooden stamp. It's called a jap. It's spelled T-J-A-P. Okay? Or sometimes this dipping tool. It's called a jaunting tool. Again, spelled oddly with a T in the front, I believe. So you dip the dye, or excuse me, you dip the wax in this little tool and usually hold a little napkin or something underneath it while you bring it over to your fabric. And then once you have your fabric, like this would be a plain piece of fabric, you apply the wax resist to the outlines. And in the case of something like this painted one, are we okay with glare there?
You have to turn it.
Okay.
Yeah, right there.
In the case of this painted one, you just use this as a little barrier to place the colors against. And this is still dyed. This is still dye here. So you place the yellow and the orange and the red in here and essentially paint it, and the dye will travel up to the place where the wax has bonded with the fabric and hardened, so that it creates a little dam so that the dye doesn't continue to travel. Okay? So this particular technique can be used on commercial fabrics as well. So in the case of this fabric, okay, in the case of this fabric, what probably happened is this mottled dye color, the blues and the pinks and the yellows, were actually created by hand painting or dipping portions of fabric in blue and pink and yellow dye, okay? and then allowed to fix with the fabric, and then, okay, a job of some kind was used to place these patterns with wax on top of the fabric. Okay? Then, after all that was done, then they dip it a second time in this really dark, deep blue-black that we have. And the wax resists the absorption of that blue dye. Now, when all of the dyeing process is complete, all of the wax is heated up, well, all of the fabric with the wax and the dye, it's heated up in super hot water. The wax, of course, melts. It's skimmed off the top. Many times the wax is reused again and again and again. And that's how we get batik fabrics. So it's quite an intensive process, and it can be done in multiple layers, making the fabric even more interesting and beautiful, in my opinion. So hand-dyed batiks are pretty darn special. So that is what has been done by Huffman to create our Bluebird batiks. They have dyed initially the fabrics with blues and greens and pale blues, okay? Placed the jape of the Bluebird and the syringa that I designed with wax on top of it, and then dipped it again in probably a blue and a turquoise color for this one. And each of these is literally hand printed with these japes. In some cases even hand painted, depending on what kind of fabrics we're talking about. So these fabrics are kind of special. We think they're kind of special because we love bluebirds around here. And we are going to be offering them. The news is that they have come in to California on the boat from Indonesia, from Bali, and will be arriving soon. So if you'd like to place a pre-order for these fabrics, they should be here within the end of the month here. And we will save you some of this fabric. It is a limited printing. We're the only ones that have this fabric. And we'll be calling those of you that were part of the shop hop and inviting you to place a deposit on your pre-orders. At the end of the month, we will essentially go forward with selling the fabric, because we don't want people to miss out that actually want some of this fabric. We'll also be taking this to the Boise Basin Quilt Show, provided that there's some left. So we invite you to share in our Bluebird journey. Bluebirds are a symbol of happiness. They're, of course, the state bird of Idaho, as is the syringa, the state flower of Idaho. Both very, very cool symbols of beauty and happiness here in Idaho. And we want to share a little bit of that with our Bluebird flock and hope that it finds a home at your house, bringing you happiness as you're quilting it and as you look at the fabric and the quilts on the wall. We will have some projects available for it too. So super excited about that. Thanks for popping into Facebook Live today. Hope that was fun for you to kind of see a little bit about batiks. I love them. I think they're gorgeous and just provide a lot of opportunity for quilters. Tune in next time for more information about quilting and painting flowers. See you. Bye.